What is the best troop in Squad Busters? Well, I'm going to be ranking every troop today from worst to best. And I'm going to be doing this based off their ultra abilities and how they are in Squad League. Okay, so in last place, we have the Witch at 39th, the worst troop in the game. And there's a few reasons for this, but the main reason is she's an epic. And for an epic, yes, she does decent damage and she does spawn some skeletons, but like, she's just going to die because she's got not that much health. And well, she's not that good for an epic. If she was a common, I think I would rate her a lot higher. And even if you do pick a witch at the start of the game, well, she's just going to make your chest prices more expensive. At number 38, we have a Heavy. You just stand still, you shoot, and for some reason, his bullets don't seem to land a lot. This is a game about moving a lot. You can't just stand still for a few seconds to fight. You actually have to be moving around people just, you know, to take out their units. Next up, we have Nita. This is a unit which, I don't know, doesn't do any damage, doesn't really have much health either. It's just a unit that, why would you put it in your Squad League rotation? There's better alternatives, and that's what's going to be most of these next units. At number 36, we have our first healer, the Medic, the worst healer in the game. For a rare, he gets completely outshined by a common, which is Poco. And in fact, if you want a healer, get a trader or get, I don't know, a Mavis. Medic really isn't that good. He's supposed to heal you while you're inactive and not fighting someone, but he just doesn't do a lot. Next up, we have Bo. Unfortunately, Bo, not that good. If this was for Hatchling Run, though, Bo would be good, but obviously we can't play Bo in Hatchling Run because the rotation doesn't allow that. And in Squad League, not very good. If you run a Bo, other people are just going to try to kill you. But I will say, I've made it work in the past, but it's not worth it. At number 34, we have the Royale King. Now, he did receive a buff in the most recent update, but you got to remember, this tier list is for Squad League, not Showdown. In Showdown, yeah, Royale King's pretty good. Same with Dr. T, but in this mode, people are constantly running away. All they'll do is if you spawn in a bunch of recruits, they'll just move out the way, and then you'll chase them, and then they'll fight you. If they want to make the Royale King good, all they need to do is make it so those recruits follow you in your squad. It's not hard to do. It wouldn't even be OP. If the dev team made it so the recruits followed you in your squad, it wouldn't even be OP. It would just be good. Why is he not at least good, you know? At number 33, we have Dr. T. Honestly, very similar to Royale King, so I'm not going to go over this, but same points. And at number 32, we have the Bandit. What used to be a very good character a few months ago, now not good. You do get gems, but you got to think about it. Everyone's running damage, so they'll just attack you and kill you. And also, you get so many gems from attacking people that, same with Trader, the Bandit just isn't good. Now, in Doppelgangers, she is really good if you can get a Bandit, you know, early on, get some gems, get to first place, then pick a miner and just survive, but that's only Doppelgangers. At number 31, we have the Trader. Very, very similar to Bandit, although a little bit better because you can heal. And in fact, Trader, I have played a few games with Trader in Squad League, and it can still work, but you just have to pray that no one else more overpowered comes and kills you. So if you're in a lobby with good players, Trader's going to be useless. If you're in a lobby with bad players, then Trader's going to be good. But if you're in a lobby with bad players, well, then you can probably beat them. You get the point? At number 30, we have the Chicken. Now, ranked very lowly, but I actually have the Chicken in my rotation. So take it as you will, but the reason I have the Chicken in my rotation is because Doppelgangers. That is it. I literally only have the Chicken in my rotation for Doppelgangers, and I think you guys should as well, because that miner is so broken right now in Doppelgangers, and in fact, every game, having that permanent turbo or having like 50 turbo boots is really helpful just to stay underground the whole time and then wreck people. At number 29, we have Mortis. He's only gonna be good in the spooky world, not in the other games. And now that you can actually choose your rotation, I can think of 5 epics, in fact 6 or 7, better than Mortis. Just not worth putting in your rotation. At number 28, we have Colt. Now, even at Ultimate, I still don't use Colt in my rotation because he does do splash damage, but it's more of a piercing splash damage. It's like straight ahead rather than, you know, a splashed area. So he's just not that good. At number 27, we have Leon. Now, I don't have Leon in my rotation, but I have been in games where people have had a Leon, they've gone invisible, and because they're invisible, I've been chasing them down, but I can't kill them because, well, they're invisible. So Leon actually does work, and if you want to put him in your rotation, you can, but for me, I think go for the better epics. At number 26, we have our next healer, and it's gonna be Pam. Now, Pam, a pretty good healer. If you like Pam, then put her in your rotation. Personally, for me, I prefer Poco. It does a lot more healing, and well, it's a lot easier to fuse up, but that's kind of the reason why Pam is rated so lowly. If Poco wasn't in the game and you don't have a Poco unlocked, then I would probably put Pam like an extra 5 or 10 tiers higher. At number 25, we have the Wizard. You can hold 2 spells, something that used to be really helpful. And in fact, in Showdown, holding 2 spells can be really helpful, especially in those final moments when everyone's like, you know, in that final zone. But in Squad League, yes, having 2 spells could be helpful. You could hold into something like a Shrink and a Rage and then completely wreck somebody. So that's why I'm not rating it too lowly, but at the same time, it's not that high either. At number 24, we have the next troop that I have in my Squad League rotation, and it's going to be the Goblin. Now, I have the Goblin at Ultra form on my free-to-play account, and on my main account, I have it at Ultimate form. As long as you have the Goblin at Ultra form, I would say it's a solid unit to have in your squad because doppelgangers. Yup, all you do in doppelgangers is you get a Goblin, you get a Chicken, you get a Goblin, and you just do that for the first 2 minutes, get a huge squad, then switch to Minor and wreck everybody. At number 23, we have the Archer, a unit which I used to really like. I haven't been liking as much recently. She does do good splash damage, and she can absolutely shred squads. I've seen it happen. I've had it happen to me, and I've done it to other players, but she doesn't do, I feel like, enough damage for her to be, you know, a few tiers higher. And also, she doesn't have that much health. She dies easily. Units like Frank do splash, but also they have a lot more health. And units like Dynamite, well, they just do a lot more damage, and Ice Wizard does a ridiculous amount of damage and has that really good spell. Next up, we have Penny, a unit that I used to like a lot and I actually had in my rotation for a while, but the maps, well, now that you get so many gems from just killing players, I don't feel the need to get the treasure maps anymore. What I think they should do to Penny to make her good is make it so she 100% guarantees drops a key from her map. Because at the moment, it's like, what, a 50-50 chance that she drops a key? Not worth it. If it was a 100% chance, maybe worth it, because at least you know you're going to get a key for a chest each time you pick a penny. At number 21, we have Jessie. This unit was absolutely crazy in Hatchling Run, although in Squad League, you know, I will say all the units from now on are pretty decent. So if you can get a bunch of turrets in middle, it's always helpful having a Jessie. She actually does pretty good damage, and also, well, she shares her hits. She'll hit between 2 units, which can be quite satisfying, especially early on. At number 20, we have El Primo, a unit which I feel like is really underrated. I've put it in my rotation a couple times, and I've been cooking with him. He does like a very good pounce ability, which stuns and does quite a lot of splash damage. Maybe it's worth using an El Primo if you're maybe looking for an extra splash damage unit in your squad. At number 19, we have Frank, a unit which used to be really bad, but then he received a couple buffs, and now he's actually pretty solid. And I do have him in my rotation on my main account, Claz, not on my free-to-play account because he's only at Super on my free-to-play account, but I will say I am debating replacing him on my main account with Dynamite, which we'll get to in a little bit. But Frank, either way, solid unit. If you can charge up his ability in the vines or even out the vines, you can do a lot more damage, and also you can even stun people, which is, well, really good. At number 18, we have Alita 1. She makes your turbo last a lot longer. Now, she is a solid epic, but I do think there are some epics that are better than her. But if you're someone who struggles with turbo and you like to hold down turbo in fights a lot, I think Alita is pretty solid to have in your squad, so you can have, you know, that extra turbo. But now that you can choose a Hog Rider in your rotation, do you need an Alita 1? You probably already have enough turbo from that Hog Rider. At 17, we have Optimus Prime, and the way he works, as you know, when he takes damage, he heals your entire squad. So he's actually a pretty good healer, and I've been noticing a lot of top players, like top 100 in the world, have been replacing Battle Healer with Optimus Primes in their rotation because, you know, a lot of people run Splash now. So if you've got an Optimus Prime in your squad and someone's splashing onto that Prime, he's just going to heal your squad. And if you have a Poco as well, that's double healing. And at number 16, we have our first farming unit, I guess, if you don't include Goblin, but it's going to be Greg. Now, Greg at Ultimate form, I would say, is on the same level as Mavis, which we have a little bit higher in this tier list. But at Ultra form, he just drops a heart from a tree, which is so bad. I feel like if anything, he should drop a heal spell or a log spell. But besides that, with how many people are running Mavis at the moment, if you're noticing you're playing games and you're trying to use a Mavis and someone else is already getting the carrot patches before you, putting a Greg in your rotation isn't a bad idea to replace Mavis at Ultra form. At 15, we have Tank. Now, she works really well with the Archer Queen because the Archer Queen will make the tank attack a lot faster. She has a lot of health, a lot of damage. It's a unit that I've been putting in and out of my rotation. I haven't fully decided what to do yet. The main issue with Tank for me is when I pair her up with a Hog Rider, she makes the grass disappear, and that's just really annoying to deal with. At number 14, we have Shelly, a very solid unit, but the issue with Shelly is I usually put Barbarian instead in my rotation, so I don't have a Shelly in my rotation. Still a solid unit though, especially in Showdown, but in Squad League, she does this thing where she splashes and stuns and pushbacks troop at the exact same time, which is really good, her Supercell ability. So if you're looking for a common to put in your rotation, Shelly is the way to go. Anyways, at 13, we have the other farming unit, Mavis. Now, this drops a lot more coins and a lot more gems than a Greg at Ultra form. At Ultimate form, they're a bit more similar, but she's a solid unit that I'm using in all my games at the moment. I use her in my main account, my free-to-play account. The only time I won't use a Mavis is in the lava map because you get so many coins, you don't need a Mavis. At number 12, we have the Barbarian. Now, it's important to note, if this was the Ultimate Barbarian, I'd probably put him at number 2 or number 3 on this list. But he's not the Ultimate Barbarian, he's the Ultra Barbarian. And he's still a solid unit, and that's why I have him on my free-to-play account. Now, I haven't been using the Barbarian that much recently, even though I have it in my rotation. Reason for that is because I usually wait for rares to get like Dynamites and Miners and Ice Wizards. At number 11, we have B. Now, I would have put in this troop a little higher up in this tier list, maybe like a couple weeks ago, but recently what I've been realizing is B is a solid unit, definitely. Don't take that wrong. I have her in my rotation, but if someone like runs a Miner, a Dynamite, and like an Ice Wizard, all they have to do to counter B is run up to you, stun you, and then stay within the B circle, so they're not getting splashed by all the Bs, but still a solid unit. At number 10, we have the Battle Healer, and this is another unit I have in my rotation, but I've been thinking about replacing it for Optimus Prime, but not at the moment. Having that extra health is really good, especially when I run a bunch of units that don't have much health, like Dynamite. Having a Battle Healer can always boost it up, and also when there's like big squads running around the map, it's always nice to know you've got a bit of extra health with the Battle Healer. At number 9, we have a Dynamite. Now, funnily enough, when I started making this list, I actually put Dynamite like 10 points lower than it is right now, but it's only within the last few days that I've been using Dynamite on my free-to-play account, and I've been getting a crazy amount of wins. I'll have a video in a few days about how OP Dynamite is, but a solid unit. Put him in your rotation if you don't already, and just use him for a little bit and see if he's your cup of tea, because for me, he is so good. I just run up to someone, I stun them with the Miner, and then I wait for the bombs from Dynamite to drop, and it cooks their squads so quickly. At number 8, we have the Ice Wizard, still above Dynamite, although I will say I'm picking Dynamite a little bit more than the Ice Wizard, but that's on my free-to-play account because I have him at Super. At Ultra form, Ice Wizard is always going to be good because he just has those moments where he wipes out squads in like one shot. I feel like he's a bit unpredictable sometimes with that. Sometimes he'll wipe out a squad, sometimes he'll do no damage, but he's a solid unit. At number 7, we have the best healer in the entire game, Poco. This unit is busted. I'm sure you guys already know, like we all know this by now. He can out-heal damage that you take for your entire squad, and that's exactly what he's good for. At number 6, we have Max, another unit in my rotation. Same with Poco and Ice Wizard, by the way, but a very, very good unit. I've been realizing that I need to use Max more in my games recently. Having that final extra turbo in the final 60 seconds is really good. You outrun people, you chase them down, and if you're running like a trader or you're farming or you don't like to fight people really, picking a Max just so you can run away from them is really good. At number 5, we have Archer Queen. Fell off a little bit is what a lot of people are saying, but I still think the Archer Queen is really good, especially if you're running Dynamite and Ice Wizard and Poco and B and all these other splash damage units, because they're going to be attacking faster with your Queen. So I've been using Queen a lot recently, mainly because I've been putting Dynamite in my rotation, but solid unit. At number 4, we have a unit that has sadly fell off a little bit, and it is the Barbarian King. Used to be at number 1, now at number 4, but it obviously is still a solid unit. All you do is you pick him, you get a normal rage or the super rage, but it's the same as a normal rage. You run into a fight, you wipe someone out. It's not as good as it used to be with the 100% extra damage, but even though it does 60% extra damage, it's still good. And what a lot of people forget is the Barb King makes it so all your melee units attack faster. So even though his rage spell isn't as good as it used to be, his other abilities are still really good. At number 3, we have Colonel Ruffs. Now, a lot of people might be surprised that I didn't put this at number 1, but that's because there are 2 units which I would rather have over a Colonel Ruffs. Now, don't get me wrong. If you get like 1, 2, 3, or 4 Colonel Ruffs in a game, you're probably going to beat everybody because that is just crazy. You're going to get 4 fusions plus the Colonel Ruffs. At number 2, we have the Ultra Miner, and this has gone up a little bit since my last tier list. I think I had it at number 5 or number 6. Now it's at number 2, and that's just because recently I got Ultra Miner on my free-to-play account, and I've realized how broken it is compared to a Super Miner. It's so good. Literally, if I don't have an Ultra Miner, it is a struggle to win a game, and if I do have the Miner, even if it's not Ultra form, I have a very good chance of winning. And at number 1, we have the Hog Rider. Now, although he got a nerf in the last update, he's still really good. Like, my last tier list, I had Colonel Ruffs and Barb King above the Hog Rider, but when you think about it, if there's one unit in the game that you can't win without, what unit unit is it? To me, it's the Hog Rider. There's no unit in the game that I cannot win without, but the Hog Rider is the only unit that I probably can't win without because you need that turbo. I'm sure you guys have had some games where you've not gotten a Hog Rider and you've just not been able to chase anyone down. But for me, if I don't have a Hog Rider, it is a struggle to win a game. And even with it getting a nerf, it is still going to be the GOAT. Anyways, that's it for my tier list for March. What do you guys think of it? Make sure to use code Claz in the Squad Buster shop. And if you want to see me do a showdown tier list, let me know in the comments below. But also check out my last video on screen here if you want to watch more from me.